Let us begin our metta meditation. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. As usual, we continue our mindfulness practice with the background of metta. Let us focus the mind on our breathing. We all breathe together, billions of people, only few of us who use the breath to develop our mind. They are very wise individuals. So let us focus our mind on the breath, noticing the breath touching the nostrils, and expanding our chest area and abdominal area as we breathe in, and noticing contracting of our lower abdominal area, chest area, and leaving the breath our nostrils. As we do so, when we inhale and exhale, we notice two pauses, one when we complete inhaling, the other when we complete exhaling. And these pauses are very brief. We don't try to exaggerate them or manipulate them. We just let them appear and disappear, just like the breath appears and disappears. If we try to stop to notice, pay more attention to one particular thing, others will pass under your nose without your awareness. And therefore, let them happen. Keep the mind focused only on the breath, where you can see the breath rising and falling. And also you notice the feeling of breath rising and falling, perception, thoughts, consciousness. As we breathe in, they all rises. As we breathe out, they all falls, fades away. And new feeling, perception, thought and attention arise as we breathe out. So one particular feeling does not stay the same as we breathe in and out. They too change. As we notice the change of breath, feeling, perception, thought and consciousness, we see the reality which you cannot stop. It is a flux, moving, motion. And we notice that. And then gradually our breath becomes subtler and subtler and subtler, and become very refiner and refiner. Then the body becomes relaxed, the mind becomes relaxed. In this relaxed state of mind, we experience the very truth of letting go. Letting go. That is letting go of our greed, clinging attachment in a very subtle way. And then we notice that when the body and mind and breath relax, in that relaxed state of mind, metta feeling arises. When the mind is rigid, uptight and tensed up, metta subsides, metta does not nourish or flourish. And when we see metta rising and we feel the feeling of metta, no room for resentment or anger in our mind, and they also fade away. And then we notice that we are doing this for the benefit of us plus all other suffering beings, keeping them in mind. Our heart goes to them, and then compassion arises. Restlessness and worry fades away. And then we see our mind becomes even more relaxed and calm and peaceful, which in fact is not which does not induce our sleepiness. Rather, it makes us awake and see our sleepiness, drowsiness fade away. And then arises confidence, trust in our own practice, seeing the results, positive results, which arise naturally without too much effort. Seeing this, we realize that we have so much potential in us to develop our mind. Then we have confidence. When confidence arises, doubt fades away. When this happens, our greed fades away, resentment fades away, restlessness and worry fades away, sleepiness and drowsiness fades away, doubt fades away, and then the mind becomes more and more calm, relaxed and peaceful and clear and pure temporarily. And then we gain joy, happiness and concentration. When concentration arises, we use this concentration to notice the subtlest changes taking place in our body, feeling, perceptions, thoughts and consciousness, which we call the 5 aggregates. They are aggregates, meaning collection of various things. Body has various parts, various kind of feeling. Perception has at least many types of perceptions. Thoughts are countless thoughts, and consciousness are various states of consciousness. Therefore, they all are called groups, aggregates, and they all change. Friends, only when mind is concentrated can we see these changes taking place in the subtlest way, and that helps us to get rid of our greed, hatred and delusion slowly and gradually. So we continue this practice. dukkhapatta cha nidukkha, bhayapatta cha nibhaya, sokapatta cha nisoka, hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this metta thought in mind, we want to continue this series of short Dhamma talks. Day before yesterday, I was talking on restraining in order to remind you where we were. Let me recap very quickly. We were talking on dependent origination and we came to desire, greed. I said there are many names for desire. One of them is asava. I said there are kamasava, bhavasava, avijjasava, influxes of or that which is brood in samsara. Greed is brood, and the desire to re-exist is brood, and ignorance is brood, and they are still brewing in our mind. Without getting rid of them, liberation is impossible. So, in order to get rid of them, Buddha has given a very specific discourse called Sabba Asava Sutta, the discourse on all cankers, influxes, or taints, whatever term we use, whichever you feel comfortable you may use, provided you understand what it means. So even these in this discourse, he has given 7 steps. I explained the step number 1 as seeing. Now step number 2 is restraint. The restraint has 5 steps. I mentioned only 4. Now don't confuse this with the main topic. Main topic is overcoming taints and 7 methods. Today I am going to discuss the second method, which has 5 steps, subdivisions. I explain to overcome the restraint, restraining our sila with morality, restraining with mindfulness, restraining with virya, energy, restraining with wisdom. There is another way of restraining. That is number 5. That is called khanti sangvara. Khanti. Khanti is patience. Patience is a very important factor in our daily practice, daily life. We can get along with anybody if we learn to be patient. This is a very practical, very important thing. Only when we lose our patience in conversation, in listening, and associating or seeing somebody, then the mind gets irritated, upset, and cankers or this brood defilement can increase. So we have to have a lot of patience. Patience doesn't mean that you let somebody sit on your head. Patient doesn't mean that you are uh, like cowardly. Patience goes with wisdom. Patience is when we speak, we have to speak with patience, listen with patience, and we don't simply remain, always quiet, silent. That is not patience. That is cowardliness. Sometimes the foolish people, they don't know anything to say. They can stay quiet. That is not patience. That is because they don't know how to use their wisdom and say something. The patience is when you talk, in talking especially, you have to wait for the right time, right place, right words to speak with right attitude to the right person, to the right point. See, so many things are involved. You have to wait. Having waited that long, trying to fulfill all these requirements to speak at the right moment, it is very, very effective. Very effective. That is what the Buddha did to that Akkosaka Brahmin who scolded the Buddha. And Buddha waited until this man's vocabulary was exhausted. He probably was tired. And then there was nothing else he has to say. Then Buddha gave a very right answer, asking him, do you have friends and relatives? When he said yes, do you visit them? He said yes. Do you go there empty-handed or you go there with some gifts? He said, yes, I never go there empty-handed. I always carry something. Okay. All right. Suppose what to give them, if they do not accept it, what would you do? Of course, I take home and enjoy with my family. Similarly, mister, you gave me a gift. I don't accept it. Take home and enjoy with your family. So how much patience Buddha had? Then you might say, well, he was the Buddha, so he has so much patience. But we all ordinary folks living with the society, doing all sort of things, we don't have that kind of patience. Friends, Buddha also was like us, layman, living in families and with people all his samsaric life. He was not born Buddha. He kept practicing until that practice became perfect. Then he became Buddha. Similarly, patience is something that we have to practice. It doesn't come to us automatically. Impatience is the one that comes automatically, easily. Anything can irritate us. Misunderstanding can happen any fraction of a second. You don't have to plan for that. You don't want to plan to have misunderstanding. It comes very quickly, naturally. All we need is impatience. So, patience comes with wisdom. Patience comes with practice. And then we will be exactly like the Buddha. Exactly like the Buddha. We can tolerate all kind of things and speak correctly. You need patience for your studies. You need patience for associating with people. That is why the Buddha said, Khanti paramang tapo. Khanti paramang tapo. Khanti means patience, parama means paramount, highest. Tapo, austere practice. highest meditation is patience. You cannot practice even mindfulness without patience. You cannot gain concentration without patience. You cannot practice any meditation without patience. Because you want to attain, I remember when I was in Washington at lunchtime, somebody came from the World Bank and said that person did not know who I was, just came to my office and sat in front of me and said, looking at the watch on the wristwatch, uh, I have 10 minutes. Can you teach me meditation and attain enlightenment and go back to work in 10 minutes? I said, you see, it is not that easy. You need patience. You need practice. And then you will attain. If you have that much time, patience, and practice, I can teach you. Otherwise, please leave me alone and you go back to your work. So, even to practice metta, practice meditation, you have to have a lot of patience. And this is the fifth subdivision of restraint. Fifth subdivision. To recap, I must say, uh, there is no particular order. I just tell them as I remember them. Virya Sangvara, effort. Sati Sangvara, mindfulness. Jnana Sangvara, wisdom. wisdom. And Kanti Sangvara, as I mentioned today. And what's the last one? Sati Sangvara. These are the five divisions of restraining to overcome our taints, asavas. Then number 3 in the main division among 7, number 3 is using. We can using what we use to overcome asavas. This has been very useful for monastic lives. Of course, lay people are not precluded from this practice. These lay people can do very much like monastic if they understand how they use whatever they use, how to use them mindfully. I want to I don't want to say it in Pali because we recite it every day, some passages in Pali. All of them we recite in Pali when we do it by ourselves, especially the monastics. There were the monastics who have trained themselves for many years in monasteries. These are the basic things they must memorize because these are the things that they have to use every day. Number 1 is clothing. This is what we recite in Pali, but I say it in English. I have not memorized it in English, so I have to read it in English. In Pali, I can recite without reading. This is what we recite. Whatever robe I have used today without mindful reflection was used only to ward off cold, to ward off heat, to ward off the touch of gadflies, mosquitoes, wind, sun, and reptiles, only for the purpose of covering my nakedness. See the purpose of wearing robes. We wear the robes only for these purposes. Uh, to ward off cold, heat, touch of gadflies, mosquitoes, and other flies, and to protect us from the sun, wind, and reptiles. This is very common in West Virginia, and mosquito also. And above all, for the purpose of covering our nakedness. Actually, these are the purposes of wearing clothes by anybody. Do you think you wear the clothes for anything else? No. But you add other additional reasons to show off, to go to parties, to go to meetings, to meet for somebody when you go for an appointment, when you want to see a very famous dignitary, and so forth and so on. So these are the additional reasons you add to the primary purposes of wearing clothes. The primary purpose is covering our nakedness. Since we became civilized from the apes, we grew in civility and become civilized, so we don't want to expose our nakedness to the world. So we cover ourselves. That is, these are the purposes. And also, while using this, what do we, how we overcome taints, influxes, asavas? We learn to be very simple. We learn not to overburden people because we are depending on people. They give us robes. If we change robes every 2 days and get new robes, people will be tired. They cannot support us anymore. They themselves work very hard, and donation is not number one on their priority list. It can be the last item of the priority list. They have to feed themselves, their families, children, pay bills, and so forth. In addition to that, they donate us, and we must be very compassionate towards them, not to overburden them, and therefore use the robe with these purposes, wash them when they are unclean, and use them. So we learn to be compassionate and reduce our thought of cruelty. We learn to be practice loving friendliness and overcome our hatred. We learn to be humble and learn to be simple. Above all, we learn not to be greedy by getting new robes all the time. Humble. These are the purposes of wearing robe. So in that way we reduce our some taints, especially karma asava. And then also we have another section that we recite in Pali every day. The meaning of that in English is, just as this robe is dependent upon and made up of mere elements, the individual that uses it also is not permanent being, not permanent life, void of self, and made up of mere elements. All these robes are clean as they are. But when they are used by this body, they become extremely unclean. 100% true. The robes that we use are made up of mere elements. And the individual, like us, also are made up of the same elements. In Mahatipadoma Sutta and many places, Buddha said, internal elements, four elements, are the same as external four elements. Because internal elements come from external elements. This body is made up of elements where we find them. They don't come from the sky. They are outside. When we eat food, drink water, and breathe and get heat, all this exists in the world, in outside world. And from them we get our food, our clothing and so forth, and made this body made up of those elements. And that also is very true. And then these external elements are impermanent. This body made up of those external elements also impermanent. Now we practice meditation to overcome our notion of permanent self. External elements are not a being, permanent being. This body made up of those elements also is not permanent being. That is meditation on impermanence. And then meditation on impurity. The cloth, with regard to clothes, we are talking about the cloth. These clothes, as we all know, as they are in the natural setting, they are clean. And when we wear them, they become unclean, extremely unclean. You all know from your own personal experience, if you do not wash your clothes for 2, 3, 4, 5 days and pass by somebody, he would close his nose and look away. Oh, what is this fellow? Where does this uncleanliness come from? From using them by this body. This body does not put out something pleasant or scent or sweet smell. We all know that, although we keep washing this body 2, 3, 4, these days we may be washing it more because of the COVID-19. When you go out, you come and wash your clothes and go in, put in the laundry and come in, because you want to clean. You keep cleaning and putting on, again it become unclean. And again you clean, wash it, use all the best detergent in the world and put it on, 3 days it is again smelly. So Buddha did not say anything unusual, impractical. He said, this cloth, though clean as it is, when we put on, it becomes unclean. So, this is a meditation. We meditate on impermanence. We meditate on unsatisfactoriness. We meditate on selflessness by using. And when we meditate on this way, our greed fades away. Greed is another name for asava. And this is the discourse that Buddha delivered to overcome asavas. This is number 3 of the main list. First is seeing, second is restraint, third is using. So I mentioned only one of the four requisites that we are using. We use them, but use with understanding, with mindfulness, the purpose of using it, and use it as an subject of meditation, so that we fulfill two purposes, and plus overcome our asava, our influx or taints or cankers, whatever name we use to overcome that. Let me try the next one. Among four requisites, the second is, first is cloth, second is food. This is what we say in Pali. I read it in English. Whatever alms food I have used today without mindful reflection was not eaten for enjoyment, not for intoxication, no out of gluttony, not to become attractive, but only for the continuation and nourishment of this body, for keeping it unharmed, for helping the brahmacharya life, reflecting I shall destroy all feelings of hunger and not produce new feelings of overeating. Thus, there will be freedom from physical discomfort and living at ease. Of course, this is very important reflection. This reflection only if we forgot. If we forgot to eat with mindful reflection, at least once a day in the evening, we must recite this. That is why whatever alms food I have used today without mindful reflection. So if we forgot to do it at meal time, when we must do it in the evening at our daily meditation time, reciting puja time. Now, these words are very, very meaningful. Why we eat, especially monastics, I think that is the same for lay people as well. I'm just using the section for my monastic. Not for enjoyment. Of course, many people eat just for pleasure. Eating pleasure, enjoyment. They don't enjoy food when they eat, they talk. They have asked people to come for dinner. They don't know what goes into the mouth or into the stomach. Their mind is on business, on some other things. But they don't eat mindfully. So they don't know how much they eat. They may eat thinking of as enjoyment. They even don't know the taste because they are so busy talking. So mouth can do one thing at a time, either talk or eat. But you give mouth extra work. While throwing food into the mouth, you keep talking. You don't know what you talk and what you don't know what to eat. So, so monastics are not like that. We eat in silence. Those who have been to Bhavana might have noticed that we eat in silence. So, not for enjoyment, no for intoxication. Actually, when we eat too much, people, we say eating, but while eating we drink. People drink, and uh, definitely they eat less and drink more because more they drink, less they can eat, so they can get intoxicated. So the monastic don't eat that way. And no out of gluttony. We don't eat until the food comes up to our throat. When the food is very tasty, it was so tempting, greed increase, asava increase, not decrease. Though we must know the limit of our eat, know to become attractive. Some people dispute this word attractive because they think that people don't eat for attraction. Yes, some people eat. They want to build their muscles. They have built muscles and lift weight and show off. You know, muscle builders, bodybuilders, they eat all kind of special food to build their body. We don't eat for that purpose. Then why we eat? But for the continuation and nourishment of this body. This body need that. And for keeping unharmed, for helping the brahmachari life. Anavajya. By eating we can harm the body, especially eating wrong things. And helping brahmachari life. Brahmachari life is the life of practicing Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is the middle path. Even in eating, we must eat moderately to follow the middle path. Eating moderately is helping us to meditate, to breathe easily, to walk, and keep us healthy. Moderate eating. All food specialists and all physicians who really care for life or health know moderate eating is very good for good health. Good health. There are so many things to say about eating, but I don't want to say all these now, no even time. Then I shall destroy all feeling of hunger and not produce new feeling of overeating. This is also very true. We eat for good purpose and increase pain if we eat too much. So, this way, I mentioned only 2 of the 4 requisites. Using. When we use them mindfully so that we not only nourish the body, but also we eat food to develop our mindfulness, meditation, overcome our asavas, kama asava. Kama means desire. Desire for eating. And if we eat eat like have a gluttonous attitude, then we overeat and defeat the purpose of eating. So eating becomes counterproductive. It doesn't serve the purpose. So much we have to say about it, but I want to restrain myself from talking too much. thank you very much for coming and listening, participating in this meditation, and listening to Dhamma Talk. Uh, what we are saying, friends, is all you all know. These are very simple, common sense things, but it is very good for us occasionally to remind ourselves the same simple, common sense things for our own mental development. So, with this, friends, I want to wind down today's morning's talk. And again, I want to wish all those who are suffering from this COVID 19 be free from that disease and return to normal health, live long, very good health. And others who have lost their loved ones, millions of them all over the world, still they are grieving, and may they be free from grief and return to their normal, regular life and live long with very good health. And there are some others who are helping these patients, doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs, or whoever facilitated them. They all are doing very wonderful, wonderful, selfless, compassionate service. May they all continue their noble service and live long in very good health. There are others who are financially supporting, and may they also live very long life in good health and continue their noble service. And there are leaders, good leaders, insightful leaders who have taken their countries and made very wise, patient, and understanding decisions. May they continue to do so. Other leaders who have not done so, may they be wise, be understanding, have compassion, and wisdom to make wise decisions for the benefit of all. With this, I want to conclude. Thank you very much for coming and participating in this. Thank you.